All right, all right. We are about to get started. It's just in a cold rink. It actually felt pretty nice. Anybody else going through that nuttiness of the fall where everything picks up at the same time? Right now, we're full swing into school volunteering, um, just back to school, organizing schedules, drop-offs, pickups, sport tryouts. Like it's been kind of bonkers. Never mind every other day, things that you always have to worry about, work, appointments, scheduling. It's nice to slow down, take a breath, and much like yourselves, this Thursday evening, I'm very much looking forward to rest to bedtime. I don't know if any of you are early to bed type of people like myself, but it is my favorite thing. All right, so I'm a couple minutes early. Um, just wanted to share, I've been getting such great, kind feedback about the book. Um, it means the world to me. It truly does. Um, I'd love to know your thoughts, your feedback, anything that came up for you, what stories came to your mind. Like, I know we all have our stories, and really, this book is made up of different stories, but really, those were moments in my life that stood out enough that I wrote about them, that I remembered them, that the people involved left an impact with me. So just want to share that with all of you, that I know you have stories and I'd love to hear them. And we want to create that environment, that space for not just talking about goals and ambition and what people are achieving, but also how you're doing it in a way that feels good, that feels sustainable, that makes you feel energized and doesn't exhaust you or drain you. Okay, so as always, I suspect that Gia will be joining us shortly. And so Gia, as many of you know, my right-hand woman, has been with me for about the last 3 years. I can't believe it's almost 4 years. And so she is often in the chat live. So she will be there to say hello, to help anybody who has any questions, or just to be part of the conversation. Because when I'm streaming it from Zoom, there's like a weird delay, so it's very confusing if I tried to look at both. Um, and to those of you who have been following these replays and again, sending me messages and commenting and letting me know about the impacts or about your own stories, the people's stories that I've heard, like they kind of give you goosebumps or just make your heart ache, like the things that people have overcome. Thank you for sharing those with me. Thank you for your honesty and your openness. It means so much to me. All right, so I'm just going to get started. We are a minute after 7, and I want to make the most of this time together. I'm not even sure we'll take the full 30 minutes, so we will see. All right, so you're strong enough for this. A real-world guide to building resilience and becoming who you were meant to be. Part 2, when life hits hard. The focus of this part of the book is navigating moments of loss, illness, trauma, and exhaustion, and learning how to rebuild when life breaks you open. Chapter 6, prepare for impact. When life knocks you sideways. I still remember the moment everything changed. 1 minute, life was predictable, manageable even. I had my routines, my plans, my assumptions about what the next few months or years would look like. And then, without warning, the ground beneath me shifted. Maybe you've had a moment like that too. A phone call that changed everything, a sudden financial hit you weren't ready for, a health scare, a betrayal, a loss so deep it knocked the wind out of you. In those moments, everything slows down. Isn't that true? Slows down. It's almost like quiet. All of the noise stops. You find yourself standing in the wreckage of what you thought was solid ground, realizing just how unprepared you really were. And it's not just about logistics, the practical side of things. It's about the mental and emotional resilience, about whether you have the strength to weather the storm without it breaking you completely. I used to think I'd figure things out when I needed to, that I was strong enough, smart enough, and resourceful enough to handle whatever life threw my way. These are all fantastic beliefs that do still support you, but beliefs alone are not enough. Then life threw something bigger, something I couldn't think my way out of, work my way through, or push past with sheer willpower. And that's when I learned the hard truth. When a crisis hits, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your preparation. I'm so curious if I know other people relate to this, and I want to know what comes up for you when you hear this. That you're not alone. You are not alone. From writing this book and putting in myself out there, putting it out there, the number of people who felt like they could come forward and talk to me about these things has been astonishing. You are definitely not alone. Why we don't prepare until it's too late. The funny thing about life is that we always assume we'll have more time to save money, more time to build a support system, more time to take care of ourselves. But then, out of nowhere, we run out of time. Nobody likes to think about worst case scenarios. We convince ourselves that we'll handle it when we need to, that preparation is for people who expect bad things to happen. I used to tell myself that too. And then one day I wasn't prepared. I remember one evening sitting on the floor in my friend's house after returning from one of the most traumatic experiences I had ever had, being sexually assaulted at a bush party by a teenage guy I did not previously know. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know who to call. I didn't even know what to do next. I just sat there, numb, feeling like I was drowning. Felt my self image cracking. Who I was and what I thought about myself, my safety, my body, and my worth changed without my permission, and it scared me. I do not want that for you or anyone. I don't want you to be standing in the middle of a crisis, wishing you had taken the time to build something solid before the storm hit. I was only 16 years old, around 16 years old. And while I fully understand that age is a time of huge change and self discovery, I also know that what I experienced and what I learned can help others of all ages. Because here's the truth, you can't predict when life will test you, but you can prepare for it. The unseen safety nets that keep you standing. People often think of preparation as something practical, money in the bank, an emergency plan, a backup strategy. And yes, those things matter, but what really makes or breaks you isn't just external preparation. It's what's inside of you, the mental habits you've built, the emotional reserves you've strengthened, the beliefs and values and character you live by, the people you surround yourself with. It's the healthy self image you crafted and protected with care. It's whether you've trained yourself to reach out before you hit a breaking point, or whether you're someone who waits until they're completely underwater to admit that they need help. This is not a judgment or a blame or a finger pointing legit. I am sharing this because I've been there and I'm over the self-gaze, the self-shame, the guilt. I want us to have an open, honest conversation about it. And waiting until it's too late to ask for help, done that enough times to realize it's important enough to bring up. even if that makes people uncomfortable or a little feisty. Some people get a little feisty. I'm willing to take that because I still want to push people to consider these things. How to build resilience before you need it. There's a reason pilots train for emergency landings before they ever fly a plane. When things go wrong, panic isn't an option. It's not because they expect an emergency to happen. It's because they build confidence by preparing for everything. They must rely on what they already know, on instincts and training that have been drilled into them. Life works the same way. If you wait until everything falls apart to figure out how to cope, it's like going to be much more, it's likely going to be much more challenging than it needed to be. Strengthen your mental and emotional foundation. Resilience isn't about being tough, it's about being steady. It's about knowing yourself well enough to recognize when you're struggling before you crash. Do you know what triggers your stress responses? Do you freeze, lash out, shut down? Have you built emotional regulation habits? Things that help you stay grounded when life gets overwhelming? For a long time, I thought the best way to handle stress was to talk it out with friends, family, anyone who would listen, really. I thought that if I could just get my thoughts out of my head, I'd find relief. I believed everyone else knew better than I did, knew better than me. But instead, I found the opposite. The more I talked, the more drained I felt. I replayed my worries over and over, hearing different opinions, soaking up people's anxieties on top of my own. Instead of feeling lighter, I felt more overwhelmed. I learned the hard way that not everyone needs to hear my struggles for me to heal from them. In fact, the more I searched for external validations or solutions, the further I drifted away from my own clarity. There were times I literally wished I could hit the brakes or rewind time and untell everyone about the thing was already that I was already ready to move on from. What I really needed wasn't more noise, I needed stillness. I needed to turn inward and trust myself as my best resource for peace. I also found from writing this out and from going through it that there was a bit of a fear that I had about being alone with my thoughts, about being quiet, about being steady, and about what might come up. My goodness, I had mean enough thoughts when I was not filtering and just letting them all pour out. I couldn't imagine when I was quiet what kind of things I'd say to myself or what kind of realizations I'd make. But in truth, that was my savior. That was my saving grace. So if you're feeling that little bit of resistance to being alone with your own thoughts, to trusting that you have the answers or that you can find the answers within, please try it. Please trust me and try it. You are your best friend. You are your best opportunity or way forward. Okay. And for me, that stillness isn't just about finding inner calm, it's also a sacred moment. Regardless of your spiritual beliefs, I see this as my time with God, a higher power, or simply the wisdom within. It's time to release the weight of the world from my shoulders and to surrender what I can't control. That power is always there, waiting for us in prayer, meditation, or even the simple act of breathing. All we have to do is be still enough to listen. Inhale, exhale, slow it down. When grief is invisible, grief isn't always loud or visible. Sometimes it hides beneath the surface, disguised as exhaustion, irritability, or numbness. I experienced this kind of grief after being assaulted. I confided in a select few, but it felt like they expected me to simply move on. Later, when I began doing deeper healing work and eventually spoke publicly about my experience, some of those same people reached out, now as adults, to say they never realized how deeply I was suffering and how deeply I was affected. This kind of grief is disorienting because it feels like you should still know yourself, but you don't. You're standing in the ruins of an old life, trying to piece together who you are now. What made it harder was that the loss wasn't just of safety, it was of my identity. I had to let go of who I was before the trauma and begin the slow, painful work of becoming someone new. Build a support system that actually supports you. Here's something people don't talk about enough. Not everyone in your life is equipped to hold space for you in a crisis. I hope that some of you think about that, of who the default people are that you go to. Some people are not equipped to hold that space for you in a crisis. Some people mean well, but they're overwhelmed, but they'll overwhelm you with their own fears or dismiss what you're going through. Some people won't be able to handle seeing you struggle, not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to. And then there are the ones who show up, the ones who say, I'm here, and they mean it. You don't find those people in the middle of a breakdown. Maybe you could, but it's unlikely. You find them before. You build those relationships when things are good, so that when things are bad or when they go sideways, you don't have to wonder who to call. Ask yourself right now, who are the people I trust with my hardest moments? Who drains me instead of supporting me? Am I surrounding myself with people who make me feel safe or just people who are convenient? And if you don't have that support system yet, that's totally okay. Start building it now. Reach out. Check in with people before you need something from them. Be the kind of friend you hope to have. I often hear people say, my circle of friends are the same people I've known since high school, or elementary school, or university. I feel like I've outgrown them or don't feel as connected anymore, but we've been friends for so long, I don't know what to do. Here's the truth. When you start focusing on what you want from your relationships and you show up in alignment with those values, you'll naturally attract people who match that energy. And without drama or fallout, some of the others will simply fade out of your life because they no longer align with who you're becoming. Sometimes it doesn't even require a conversation. But when it does, it's about clearly communicating what you want from the relationship and giving the other person the opportunity to either meet you there or respectfully step away. Avoiding these conversations only makes them scarier than they need to be. I just had this conversation with a woman the other day, a day or two ago, I can't remember. I've been talking to so many people, and just the idea of some of the conversations that people find hard. I honestly believe sometimes there isn't even a conversation needed. When you start to have expectations for yourself, when you start to be intentional with your time and who gets access to you, things just naturally fall into place. Like the right people will be there, and the people who no longer align, they just kind of go where they can find somebody who matches their vibe. So it can be a lot less stressful than you think to make the change. It's just about you starting with yourself and deciding that you deserve that you have that kind of value. Remember, you must keep the faith that your people are out there ready and waiting to meet you. The people you already know don't automatically become your people by default. They must earn access to you. You are worthy of those standards, and so are they. Create practical safety nets or trampolines. Emotional resilience is huge, but let's not ignore the real world side of things. Stress hits a lot harder when you are also dealing with financial instability, health scares, or a complete lack of work life balance. Financial resilience. What does that look like? Even understanding your finances and being intentional about how you use them as a tool for the future can keep one crisis from turning into a complete disaster. Health resilience. Listen to your body. Don't ignore the internal maintenance signals. Take care of your mind, your body, and your soul for the future you. Time and energy resilience. If you're constantly running on empty, you won't have anything left when life throws something big at you. I've heard many people say, if one thing goes wrong, Kate, I'm screwed. That is no way to live. Constantly juggling, knowing that if one ball drops, everything might come crashing down. That kind of pressure isn't just exhausting, it's actively draining your resilience. Now is the time to build your backup plans, your soft landings, your personal trampoline. So when life throws you off balance, you bounce back instead of hitting the ground and staying there. Final thoughts. You are stronger when you are prepared. I don't want you crumbling and cracking apart like I was. I don't want you to find yourself in a moment of crisis, scrambling, wishing you had thought of these things before everything fell apart. The best time to build resilience was years ago. The second best time is today. So ask yourself, where am I unprepared? Where can I start? Because life is unpredictable, but you don't have to be unprepared for it. And when the time comes, when life hits hard, when the storm arrives, you won't just survive, you'll be ready. And you will notice the difference in the impact. You may even become the helper, the shoulder to lean on, the incredible support system for those who depend on you. And you'll be able to do it with ease. Reflection prompts, right? At the end of every chapter, I put in some reflection prompts, some things for you to consider for yourself. I love to have some quiet time to myself. Even if you did one of these a day, just give yourself a moment to think about it. Better yet, if you can write down your reflections. It's your first step of bringing what's in your mind into the physical world. But I just wanted you to start thinking about these things. Okay, so these reflection prompts are called emergency drills for real life. Just like the fire drills we practiced in school, it's helpful to mentally prepare for potential challenges before they happen. Take a moment and reflect on the following. Number one, build your own emergency resilience drill by thinking of a past emergency or a current fear, whether it's related to money, relationships, or your career. What would your response plan look like if something similar happened? Number two, what can you do today to strengthen your confidence and readiness in that area? Three, where in life are you relying too heavily on the belief, I'll handle it when I have to? Four, who is part of your support system? And is there anyone you may need to let go of or intentionally invite in? It is so empowering to write this stuff down, to acknowledge perhaps how blessed you are, or to acknowledge places that you've been silly. It is so empowering to just think about this. Number five, the last one. What is one practical area, finances, health, time, where you could begin building a stronger safety net right now? All right, so that is it for today. Those are the reflection prompts. Next Thursday, we will move on to chapter 7, when it's all too much, burnout, identity loss, and the hidden cost of holding it all together. I'm going to try to just pop over. Yes, say hello, Gia. Thank you for being on, honey. I appreciate you so much. I love your feedback. Being alone with my thoughts was scary at first, right? And then you start to cherish that time. So good. Oh, I'm so grateful for you, Gia. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. All right, I'm going to log off so that we can enjoy our time with our families and our evening routines. If you're watching the replay, please contribute. Let us know what you think. Let us know about your thoughts on the reflections, anything that came up for you, any breakthroughs or realizations you had. We would love to hear them um, and cheer you on and hear all about it. And you never know who might benefit from your share. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everybody. Take care of yourself.